the 100%.
Oh, I'm, in fact, I am the one who supervised it because I was a national officer, assigned to do
shared 1,000 to each delegate.
Who? Who shared?
They shared 1,000.
Are you alleging or
That's
you are saying it for sure?
That's what we heard.
No, are you alleging?
He's alleging.
So it's based on hearsay.
It's not
so it's based on hearsay.
It's
so
not
then fine.
1,000.
Always choose your words well, Stephen.
I should have been a delegate.
Yes.
That's the truth. Anyway, let's start the discussions.
Anyway.
And today we're focusing mainly on education, and also we'll discuss some politics and ongoing subjects as to what the proceedings have been at the World Cup Commission. And now we know that UTAG, they've rescinded their decision to continue their strike, and so they'll go back to the classroom. And following that, subsequently, we've had the universities, as the 3 main public or 4 main public universities, saying, okay, we have a lot more now, saying that they will commence teaching and learning from Monday. And that should be good news, Stephen.
Yes, it is a good news, my brother, because I believe they've come to a very good conclusion or good decision between them and government, and I believe they've put the interests of the nation first, and I believe they know some of their parents, their mothers, their fathers, their grandfathers, so I believe all was being put together that, we've been punished for so long. Our families have been punished for so long that it's about time that at a point...
You're no more a student, so you can...
Well, I have brothers and sisters that are in the house, they eat free, drink free, lay in the house instead of being in school. We've paid the school fees, the accommodation, and we have to do that again, and nothing has so... I think it's a good decision that they've taken, and I applaud them for taking that decision and going back to the classrooms.
Now, Kamal, do you think that the strike in itself could have been prevented? Was it needless at all?
Completely. Let me say a very good morning to our cherished viewers first. I really believe that the strike in itself could have been prevented, as you rightly put it. You see, I've always averred or argued that as a nation, if you are tasked to be a manager, if you are tasked to, take charge of the management of a particular entity, especially a very imperative entity like education, you should be very much proactive. That has always been my point. You see, we are a nation of being reactive instead of being proactive. I know that if it's my duty to say I will do X, Y, Z tomorrow, okay, all I need to do as a manager in that particular outfit or institution is to communicate this to the stakeholders. You see, truth, nothing but the truth. Even though when it comes, it hurts, but of course, if the effects start to trickle in, you will feel your comfort. I want to say that, yes, the university teachers, no doubt about it, they have their stance, they have their rights, they have every right to fight for a very good condition of service. The POTAC teachers, same. Now, the managers of the particular entity, which is the education outfit from ministry to wherever, to GS to wherever that it falls within, I think that they should have at least tried to prevent what has happened. You see, what is calling off the strike today? The impression created to them is that they are going to get their books and research allowance as they are demanding. The impression created is that they are going to get whatever service that they were demanding. Is that not right? Now, if you could have come out to tell them, look, we cannot pay you now, but we envisage or anticipate that in 6 months' time, government will be in a position to pay. And if it has to call for going backward to pay you retrospectively, we would have to do that. It's just mere communication. There's someone sitting somewhere, refuse to do this, and sit down, only signing signatures of needless, issues to let and call it governance. So for me, to your question again, honestly speaking, we would have actually been able to protect or prevent whatever has happened, but better late than never. If they have come today to say that we are going to pay, let's pray and hope that it wouldn't be a hoax, as we've always seen. Sometimes they tell you we pay, and the next moment you see that it's a problem. Sometimes they tell you we'll do it, and in 2 months' time, the people are at it again. No, you promised us you didn't pay. So this time around, let us ensure that truth works and comes up.
But unlike POTAC, UTAG insisted some compromise should be made as far as the payment for their book and research allowance. Even though government had said that it was going to establish a research fund, because even though the rationale also behind the establishment of the research fund was also being debated, But it seems very much logical.
Yes, my brother, you see, whichever institutions have the right to demonstrate or to protest against or for a particular decision, it is their right to demonstrate. That doesn't mean government will not wake up in the morning and say, I've taken a decision here or there. I want to correct him that government, the POTAC, government hasn't said we are not paying or we've never paid. Government pays at a time that funds are available, or there's no specific date or time that they pay.
No.
That is the beef.
No, that's not
My brother, that is the
Don't
beef
worry,
here.
you land there.
And they wanted it to be paid, let's say, at a particular time that they think we wanted to give us a specific date that they get payment. That is the beef here.
No, but that's just one of the arguments.
That is one of the arguments.
Let me just bring you up to speed.
Very
with,
good.
With what
I
is
believe
happening.
my man is caught. You didn't follow it.
Yes,
very well, I'm
because
sure.
as far as we're concerned, government has been arguing that there are some teachers or lecturers within the tertiary institutions who don't necessarily
need that fund.
who don't necessarily make use of research and book allowance.
Yes.
Okay, so because if you're a professor or you have doctorate or you're a teacher in a university, you're supposed to be doing annual publications and research, and the argument was that, well, sometimes they don't. So, but they still collect book and research allowance at the end of the month. Of course, that is not paid at the end of each month, but it's accumulated.
Yes.
So then they had a difficulty with when it was paid. But then at the beginning of the year, the finance minister went before Parliament and announced that a research fund will be established.
Okay.
And that, if it comes into effect, will scrap the book and research allowance. Then the Polytechnic and university teachers were not too pleased about the announcement.
Now,
because the procedure to go for that or to qualify for that funds will be different. And that is why I'm telling you that.
No, not necessarily. The point is you need it to access.
No, the point, yes, that's what I'm to access it. Is the point I'm trying to make here is that just as we know there are some people that don't need it or might not make good use of it.
It's not they don't need it, but if you don't need it, you don't access.
Yes, or it's not necessary for, just as the analysis you made right now. Those people to say, I'm also a teacher, even buying a newspaper to read or to be able to upgrade myself is also part of the research.
Precisely.
So they will also come out and say,
argument.
that is all I'm trying to say. Some of them will also say, so why do these people need it? I'm also a teacher. I may not need to do that research, but I need to...
I do some form of
Thank you.
Actually.
So we will still have... we still have agitation in there. So I think the platform,
your argument is what UTAG and POTAC have been positive all around.
Yes. So I think the best thing, as the fund is there, I think it's going to be controlled by certain structures within those institutions. You will have to give a good reason and apply for you to be approved by the institution that it's okay, go ahead and have X amount and go and do your research. And I think it's a good call that we will be able to control the resources. I think there's no better way than monitoring and making sure that there's a good use for that money than this process that government has put in place.
Come on.
You see, Roland, we always want to play ostrich with issues. You have come out, you have a government which you sit here, or a government, in fact, in which you are a member, or of which you are a member of its communication team.
I'm a member of the party.
Oh, you are not a member of the government communication team?
No.
The NDC's communication.
Very well. You are a member of the government communication team. I want to go on. You have a communicator from governance, a communicator from government, I should say, from government.
Party government,
yes. Oh, yeah, coming to tell us that government never said that we're not going to pay. In fact, he's fallen short. He's either been economical with the truth or, of course, he's fallen short of the information on the ground. I'm happy that you took pain to clarify things for him. You see, the whole brouhaha stems on the fact that lecturers, be it POTAC, be it UTAG or whatever, finds it very necessary to have their book and research allowance to be able to impart the knowledge to the students. Now, fundamental question is it part of their contract as teachers or not?
That is negotiated, yes.
That is negotiated. Completely it is. If it wasn't part of the terms, I don't believe that they would just get up and say, we need this. Now, if that is part of it, then they said, this is what is due us. We need it. Only for you to go to Parliament to announce that, yes, even the way in manner we pay this, we're going to have a research and whatever fund. We agree. And this is the way you are going to access it. But I thought this would not have actually been done on the blind side of the teachers. Completely.
You mean there should have been some due consultation?
Some due consultations. There are those there. You understand? So as soon as you go to do that, they would think that you are going to sidestep them and then go ahead to do other things. So the whole thing was actually a gaffe on behalf of government or on the part of government. So you came out to make this announcement. They think, what is due out is going to be taken away. You, like you rightly said, reading newspapers alone and even getting information, to some extent, is some research made. Okay? So you should have sat with them. That's why I said communication. Explain issues with them before you go ahead. Now, the fund that you are creating, which is a research fund, this is the criteria going to be used in accessing that fund. And of course, if you're a teacher, you are qualified to do X, Y, Z, then go on. But when you seek to downplay what is existing in their contract, then of course you are provoking them to embark on what they did. That is the point here. So for me, government actually took a firm stand that they were not going to pay, and they were not paying. No, they were not paying, for heaven's sake. That is why now they've come out to say they are going to pay. It's clear, it's a fact. They were not paying. So only for them to come out now and say we are going to pay that money. Right. Okay, I thought that.
Let me also correct you. It's just paid in arrears. The allowance is paid in arrears.
I agree.
So the point is, it should have been paid somewhere around September.
And never paid.
Then when the argument came when the announcement came and then the arguments were made, then they had the announcement that what was due them for the academic period that just passed will not be paid.
Very well.
Then the agitation started from POTAC.
So I wouldn't pay, and what you are saying, what's the difference?
There are two different things.
They're not two different things.
Government,
excuse me, the announcement came that what is due them was not going to be paid, for this is now going to be a new way of doing things. Is that not right?
So
I'm not going to pay. It's a stance. It's a point I'm making. So now if you come and tell me that you are not going to pay, and that is why I'm not happy,
I get
because
your point.
what I deserve.
Okay, Kamal, I get
what is the point here?
I disagree.
But Kamal, there's a good rationale for the research fund.
Very well, there is.
Despite the position of POTAC even, as well as UTAG, the point is, if you don't undertake research, then you don't need funding.
Obviously, that's a fact. But how many lecturers don't do research? I have been a student, you've been a student. Every lecturer, of course, must have. You go to some libraries.
Research, yes.
I have had a bite of legal studies, a letter, okay? And every lecturer will refer you to a library. You go to a library and look at a particular case book, and you never get that book.
Yes. So
you have to call a friend somewhere in the UK, call a friend somewhere who may get that book for you to send down. Now, if the lecturer had opportunity to get that book and tell you, look, this is the book I've had for you, it's either you are going to get some parts of it photocopied, or you are going to get some part of it, I'll make sure it becomes a handout for you to get it. Now, that means it takes money for him to get it from UK or for him to get it from Canada or wherever to come. So, you see, we go to our libraries here in Ghana, especially go to University of Ghana Law Library. It's not all the books you can find there. You go to Jimpa, same. You have lecturers who, of course, are taking constitutional law, maybe whatever, other subjects, tort law, trust law, and whatever. And they need some of these books because the cases in Ghana, for instance, how many cases do we have in tort? When you take tort, law of tort, how many cases do we have as precedences or as case studies in tort in Ghana? No, you need the foreign cases. And that lecturer would need to fall under some of these things. So I think that legitimately, every lecturer, it is only when government wanted to do mischief, they came in to say that even the lecturers were taking, drivers were even taking research.
So you're making politics.
No, I'm not making politics.
No, but
you keep hammering government, being nationalistic a little bit.
Excuse me, as part of, I'm being nationalistic, as part of your excuse not to pay, you are saying that you want to scrap this particular, payment allowance because you think that even drivers to lecturers are taking research and book allowance. When you go back to the university to cross-check, there isn't a single driver taking such a fund.
Or
it's not
non-teaching staff.
It's not, but you said you gave that as an excuse. So I think that it's interesting. Right?
Okay, now we have UTAG and POTAC going back to school, and so it means that now the schools can resume.
Yes. Okay. And it's a good decision they've taken.
The other thing is, recently, the West African Examination Council came out with the results, and all the hula baloo about which percentage were the good passes and which ones can have access, etc. But Stephen, there's a difficulty now. I believe that's reported by one of the papers. Okay, Daily Graphic has even reported it. University of Cape Coast as well as the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, they're saying that they've closed admissions. So now the students who have had their results in can't get access.
It's bad unless next year.
Now the Deputy Minister of Education, Mr. Okujeto Ablakwa, says that, well, this will not be rectified. This will be rectified, but that will be in the next academic year. But if that is done, it means we're going to have 2 badges that are going to be side by side.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to create a certain clock again, just like we created when we had 3-4 year
3-4
change.
Yes. It's pathetic. I don't know. I'm taking it. It's my take or it's Stephen?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, it's unfortunate that we've.
Because I want us to discuss this dispassionately.
Yes,
no
yes,
politics.
Yes. It's unfortunate that
you don't do much politics.
Yes. It's unfortunate that we have this.
No, I don't mean that.
Don't mind.
It's unfortunate that we have this bad luck, that is going on. But I believe that we have other universities in the country. This is where I think we have to start thinking outside the box. We shouldn't let this happen again. We should be, we can be creative and see how we can absorb such, or if there's any alternative, or if there's any intervention that could be done for certain schools to absorb certain people. And this is also the time that I think the private universities can also reach out and give scholarship to some. I'm talking about giving back to the country, there are a whole lot of private universities out there, and I believe there's a relief for anybody owing schools. I don't know whether it goes up to the university of not paying certain type of taxes. So I believe giving back to the community or giving back to Mother Ghana, they can also create that every year will absorb this number of people, the private university scholarships. And even if not being burdened, putting them on campus, they can be creative and let them, do long distance courses so that to ease the burden, the pressure on the of these universities that everybody thinks these are, if you don't attend this type of university, it means you don't have a name hanging at your back. You need to go to this particular, and this is all part and parcel of it. So I think, yes, we should all support government, and then I believe that there are the technocrats and people, the stakeholders, people that matter, they will sit down and take a decision. And I don't think this is good for us, and it should be happening. So if the minister says they will look into it and has given, quote unquote, a time frame, it is not a verified truth that said this is it. It is something he's put out there. I think they could work something out that will be earlier than that, my brother.
But Kamal, it just brings us to the point of not being proactive.
That's a point again.
It's,
you see,
so it means we've put parents and students in a certain doldrum.
In a very serious
And I know he's going to blame government.
No, please. You see, I'm not blaming government. I'm going to blame governments. Okay, you just gave an example when you were introducing this particular topic, where we had this 3-year, 4-year thing. Okay, now we're having a similar thing again now in our universities, or for those who are going to have access, supposed to have access to the universities. You see, fundamentally, what is the problem? You see, we have a law in this country which says that the universities are autonomous. Even though they are a subvented institution, but they are autonomous. They decide as and when to do what they feel they want to do. The problem here is that, or the brain of the problem is that the universities, as in KNUST and UCC, decided to close their admissions in April. Okay? Then WASI also released the results later after they had closed admissions. So it's not as if there isn't entrance for these people, or there's no space for these people. I do not see that. That's not the argument made. The argument made is that the admissions were closed before the result, absolutely. So now, these 30,000 students that we have as backlog, seated there, huge. In fact, if they had a way of maybe the result coming before the admission is closed, maybe most of them would have had access to the university. Now we are being told by the Minister of Education that yes, some talk is going to go on with WASI and with the universities.
So that the next
academic year, they will have a way that to curb the scum of this. But it's a good point you raise. What happens to the 30,000, and now maybe additional 30,000 will come in, so we will have 60,000. Are we then going to have the capacity, okay, in our universities to absorb these students. That will be where another problem will be. So the problem will linger on. Because if the capacity is 1,000 students, 10,000 students, and out of 30,000 would have had 10,000 getting access. Now, next time we're going to have 20,000 people. 20,000, can the universities absorb them? So the problem is not solved. It's not. I like it when he said that we should try to bring in the private universities. Absolutely, is a very excellent suggestion that my brother has made.
But they're fee paying one.
But there's a problem here. Fee payment is one. And government has found it necessary to tax them 25% more. Now, if you want people to come and give scholarships, people to give back to your nation, then let them be comfortable so that they can at least have access to give or to invite people, give them some amount of scholarship, and some bursaries may be given to some people, and then we can go on. Is that not right? I am saying that, yes, it is good to tax institutions. Perfect. We need to raise money. However, there are some institutions you need to be very tactful or tactical when it comes to trying to tax them. Because you would really need them to do their social responsibility to society. So the 25% when it came, when we were taxing here and there, taxing condoms and whatever, to the extent that we say private university pay 25%.
Hasn't that been removed?
What, 25% to the universities? No.
It hasn't been removed.
It has not been.
You wanted to correct?
Yes, I want to correct my brother that churches are not being taxed. Even when they run certain businesses, they justify that they're doing it.
I'm talking universities, so I'm not talking churches.
Churches or universities.
Therefore, they are not taxed at the university. It's not true.
My brother.
It's not true. Go and question. Please. Let us not misinform people.
Listen.
If a church, like Apostolic Church, for example,
my brother,
I'm just saying.
They're running a university.
They're running a university, not the church.
My brother.
Oh, no.
My brother.
Don't do this.
Church running business is different. The way that is different from an individual opening up a university. Go and check your records.
Your tax laws in this country.
Go and check your records. Go and check your records.
If, for example, multimedia.
My brother, go and check your records. I know once upon a time there was agitation that the churches running businesses and whatever in these countries and everything, they should be taxed. It happened.
So it's university, not a business.
Yes, but if they started taxing the churches, I know before, whether schools or whatever they were run, the Catholic school, they were not being taxed. That was if you were even open this. No, if you
getting the point you're making.
The point I'm trying to make was that there was an incentive.
He's talking about the mission-funded universities.
And even besides that, you being an individual opening a school, there was an encouragement for individual to old school, and
they were getting tax relief. I wanted to land on a very good
you've not landed. You haven't landed. So all I'm saying is, if all these churches they absorb these people in terms of, they shouldn't look at it at the tax. They get some tax reliefs. Private universities or private school owners get some tax reliefs from government.
Okay, you've not succeeded in correcting me anyway, but let me continue. You see, the point is that I am making the point saying that if the universities, of course, are giving some ease, they may be able to cushion us by absorbing some of these students and, of course, give them some bursaries, as it were, to see that at the end of the day, some fees will be paid. It's a fee paying anyway. Many of us cannot pay. But I am saying that if we can't give them the ease, or we don't give them the ease, and by imposing 25% tax on them, then they will pass it on to the students, and they will not be able to create the environment that you are clamoring for, that they should be able to allow us and give some scholarships and whatever. That's an excellent suggestion anyway. But I'm telling you again that, in fact, if a church, with the point you're making, if a church is a church is not taxed. But where the church goes beyond setting up a filling station, setting up a bank,
no, nobody knows. Nobody waited for anybody to clean for us. We took our own trash. Up to date, that is what is being practiced at most of the villages. Nobody waits for Zoom Lion to come and take their trash or to dispose of it. I think that same thing could be done in Accra here. Let us help Ghana. Let us help government out, clean our own environment. The communal labors. Let us voluntary, cleaning services. The president has set the exemplary for us, by cleaning. So let us follow his footsteps and keep our environment clean.
Like you are a very good debater at school, because this is your summary or your conclusion.
Yes.
Well, but I think that dig went to you. You shouldn't make irresponsible statements.
Well,
I'm saying at him. Honestly, I'm only hoping that we don't make irresponsible statements, because at least we are hauled before the court and convicted. You see, that's the problem is. I'm not saying you. I'm saying all of us.
Well, so that'll be it. Our discussion for the morning, and we have had in the studio Stephen Atubiga is a member of the NDC's communication team and the National Nasara coordinator of the MPP is Kamaldeen Abdullahi. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roland.
But
Nice. I love the you guys.
I'm guaranteeing shelter at my place. Any risk it will
Oh, my friend.
We're taking a break. When we come back, we're discussing childhood cancers, and we have some testimonies to share with some parents who also will be sharing their own life experiences. We'll stay on. We'll be right back.